stepping on eggshells for some people because the leather vachetta, it's vachetta on the bottom. So is it bound to get ruined? Hey everyone, my name is Abby. I love getting to share with you all a good designer handbag or accessory here on my channel. So if that's something you're interested in, I would love for you to consider liking and subscribing, hitting that notification bell, and all that good stuff. But connect over here in this community and get to share in the same things that we enjoy. So whether you want to check out a bag to see if it's right for you, or share some things you know that you may not like about the bag, I want to hear from you guys, and I'm so excited to share these with you. So today we are going to be checking out the Louis Vuitton Neverfull GM versus the Louis Vuitton Alto bag. So this is discontinued. This one's still in production, but I want to share with you some more of a close-up side-by-side comparison, because I know a lot of people see the similarities and differences, but if you don't have them side-by-side to see, it makes it a little challenging. So if you also want to check out awesome deals on bags, accessories, all that good stuff, I do have a website. It's abbymbags with an S on the end.com. I share all the awesome finds and things with you after I review them, do a what's in my bag. I want to pass the deal along to you as well and help you find something at an amazing price that you can enjoy as well. So make sure you check out what's available over there, but without further ado, let's go ahead and get into today's video. Okay, so like I said, I'm so excited to share this with you guys today. It's been something that I've wanted to do for so long because I've had so many people ask me the differences, the size comparison, and just the general difference between a Neverfull GM and the Alto bag. So to get started, the Neverfull GM is currently in production. This bag, this is one of the first generations of the Neverfull that came out in 2007. But the measurements on this came out to about, you know, it's a little bit different when you lay it flat because this one's a little bit thicker, has a little bit more canvas, yada, yada, yada. So we can get into further details, but generally, the measurements across this one, when you lay it flat, was about 21.5 inches. So this one technically was a little bit longer. Again, take it as you will with how it lays. Where this one has thicker canvas at the top, it's doubled up on both sides. It has this little gapping, or not gapping, but like inch that it doesn't smush like this one. I mean, you could lay it flat essentially. But this one measured at, coming in at about 20 inches, 21-ish. I think this one could get up to like 22 if you laid it completely flat. So really generally you have about the same circumference at the top, given an inch or so. So you have, we'll say an inch, inch and a half difference, again, give or take, at the top for the width around. They both are really, really great and open. I love the fact that they are a wide tote bag, so literally anything, anything. You go on a trip, you need a mom bag, you can make it fit. So I love that you can put your items in here. You could use an organizer, and you know, essentially it should fit both. So if you need an organizer for a Alto bag, if you want to do one of those, I would consider doing the Neverfull GM size that you can use. The only other thing is it does have more structure to the side over here. So, you know, take it as you will. This one's a little bit different there. But anyway, so we're gonna go ahead and start off with some of the very common differences here. So like I said, the size is almost exactly the same that way. And as you can tell, side by side, they still have, this one has closer, I believe it was about 2 inches of a height difference. So what this one lacks width-wise, that extra, you know, inch and a half, you pretty much gain in height back. So really, they are very, very similar in size. However, they do carry a little differently. So let's talk about that a little more. Over here you have the Neverfull GM, which is a classic tote bag because of its smushy feeling canvas that can just kind of mold to your body as you go to carry it. So this one also has the side straps and the clinches that pull in. So if you wanted to make the bag smaller or a little bit more different, you can pull that in on either side. And it gives you essentially a smaller tote bag, kind of a more of an everyday size wear, and all that stuff. So that's a very classic thing. We all know about the Neverfull, you know, that side clinch and how it sits. So on this one, we also have those iconic Neverfull straps. They're a little bit thinner, and I know you guys, it scared away some people from the Neverfull. So I've talked to so many of you that didn't want to get a Neverfull because you were concerned about the straps. And even some people that said that once they filled the bag too full, that it would really dig into their shoulder and become uncomfortable. Now, if you're really, you got your heart set on a Neverfull and you don't want anything else, but that seems to be the problem, there are some solutions now. So there are some sellers and people that create shoulder pads for the Neverfull. to where you would put you put the pad under and insert both of the shoulder straps on top, and it clips over them. So you essentially have a one-strapped bag. The con to that would be that if you would want to open it or get in the tote bag, I could find that it would be a little bit more challenging to do that because it's clipped on. But if you really want that Neverfull bag, that might be a great option for you as well to make it a little bit more comfortable. I found that it personally wasn't super uncomfortable for me until I really filled the bag. So some of the things that made the bag just too much weight was more of when I'd put in my laptop, I'd have a notebook, all the work stuff. Then I did find for me that it was really digging. It was uncomfortable. It would just sit right in your shoulder almost instead of on your shoulder. So I would say that to me that gets very heavy and to be something to consider. The other thing about the Neverfull is it does have the zipping pouch on the inside. You have this lovely side to where if you want to put, you know, your phone keys, wallet, that kind of stuff, it fits great, and I've done that. I like to leave it open if I do that most of the time. It makes it a little bit easier to access and to have there. So that's kind of the gist of the Neverfull, as well as, like I said, with the scrunchy structure to the bag, the more scrunchy, I do want to mention that if you use the Neverfull with the heavy items without an organizer or a base shaper, which is like the acrylic or plastic that they put on the bottom, you can run into the items sagging. So it kind of can deform the bottom a little bit. Let me see if I can show you what I mean. And it kind of will sit a little bit funny. So that is something to note if you are gonna carry heavy items as well, to consider an organizer or a base shaper, something to kind of keep your structure. Unless you like the slouchier look, then you can totally go with that and it'll kind of add to the bag, which I do sometimes really like the slouchy, comfy feel of a tote bag. So one of the differences I do want to note real quick too before we go over to the Alto is with those straps. This one, let me see if you guys can see it. So the Alto actually has a little, I don't even want to say a little bit, it has quite a bit more shoulder space with the drop handle. So the drop on the Neverfull for some people, I know for me, I've talked to some plus size people that said that they really had a hard time wearing the Neverfull, that it just didn't sit right. It was like digging and it was kind of climbing up in their arm. So this one was a little bit more uncomfortable for them, as well as you know, any of the smaller versions of the Neverfull. And this is the longest you're gonna have on that drop handle. So over here on the Alto, you have more room with that, as well as those thick straps, which I love. So we'll go ahead and transition over to the Alto, and I'm gonna tell you a little bit more about it. All right, so now moving on to the Alto bag. This one has been a personal favorite for me for a long time. The first time I got an Alto, I used it more like for road trips, or if we were gonna be going out of town, different things like that. That I really loved because I could put my water bottle, we could put snacks in there, we could put like some jackets, the kids' extra diapers or clothes when they were little, and it just seemed to work really well. It was comfortable to carry. The handles are, like I said, longer and thicker than the Neverfull GM, and they just sat perfectly. I absolutely loved this bag. I ended up repurchasing it a couple different times after I sold it because we weren't traveling as much, so I might sell it and then I'd go back to it. The downside to me, honestly, was I was kind of bummed that I felt like I couldn't wear it every day. I really, really loved the Alto, but I just felt like for my size frame, it was too big for an everyday bag. So I was kind of sad about that. And I know, there's the Mezzio, which is the size down, and I have tried wearing that one. But the thing I didn't like about that one, compared to this one, I guess, totally off topic from this one, but bear with me, was it didn't have the open top, and I just loved the open top tote. So I was kind of sad about that one. But like I said, so this one also has a zipper top like the Neverfull, but I actually really like on the Alto that this pocket is actually attached like within the lining. So on the Neverfull, it kind of like hangs out a little bit, which it's not offensive. I just like the look of it on this one, on the Alto. How it sits, and I think it's really, really pretty. So the Alto also has the monogram trim all around the top that goes down of quite a few inches, which is just, I don't know, I really love the craftsmanship of it and the look. So it's really, really pretty. It also has, if you need the date code and you get one authenticated, third party, because they're discontinued, because they're vintage, you can find that over here on the side with the leather tab, and your heat stamp is gonna be on the bag as well. The Alto does have that fabric lining on it every single one of them. I know some tote bags that Louis had back in the day, Louis Vuitton was putting, you know, the leather in some of the vintage pieces. Alto is going to be this like thick fabric. I really like it. It's a dark color. It works well. So, like I said, this one, take some stuffing out here. This one has that thick color in it, the thick colored lining. It's really durable. The size is similar to a Neverfull GM. So if you want that base shaper, or if you wanted, you know, your organizer, make sure you check out something that's similar for the Neverfull GM, and you should be really good on size. I know some brands vary a little bit on what they count as the sizing, so just double check that on there. And I'll put the measurements of the bag in the description for you. So anyway, on the Alto, you also have this little pocket in here. This is the lovely early 2000s, 1990s type of cell phone holder. I like to call it like your keys or your chapstick holder. It works really, really good. So on the Alto, you also have that canvas that comes down the side. No pulling straps on the side, which honestly, guys, I know the controversy, okay? I know. The side straps can change the bag, and they can look awesome, and they can look so, so cute, and I really like them. And I know this is kind of a funny thing to say, but I feel like on the Neverfull MM, I'm not at risk for them pulling on something, but for some reason, whenever I had my GM, any of my GMs, pretty much any time, I felt like with the size of the bag and the pull straps, like I had to just be more aware of it for how it fits on me, as to where on the Alto, I didn't feel that way, which might have been because I was using it for travel and in the car and, you know, just how I use the bag, which might have been more of the case than rather the bag itself. But that just kind of got in my head that I'm like, I don't want to ruin the side straps. I don't want to break them. But, you know, in retrospect, it probably was how I was using the bag more or less. So anyway, we're gonna keep going here. So the Alto does have those really nice long handles. One of the things to make sure you check out on the pre-loved market is, you know, your wear and tear on the handles. Just make sure they're attached well. If not, you could always reach out to Louis Vuitton and see about getting a replacement or, you know, something like that. But I have found that those last a long time if you get ones in good condition. This one does have water spots on the bottom. But the leather on the bottom, I know this is something else that is also a really like stepping on eggshells for some people, because the leather vachetta, it's vachetta on the bottom. So is it bound to get ruined? Not necessarily. So this one does have marks on the bottom and it's, you know, got some stains. However, I have had some in the past that I've used for years and years and years with toddlers as my mom bag, and it didn't get completely destroyed. So it is possible for it not to do that. However, you do have to be more careful on where you're setting your bag, how you're using your bag, all that. So that is something to note and be aware of. You can, you know, if you wanted to each their own. If you wanted to, you could always add a leather protectant to it. You could seal it, but you are dealing with raw leather, so you have to be very careful and very committed if you're making that decision. So I'm not making any recommendations. You do what you need to do with your bag, but that is something to be aware of. It personally never bothered me, but like I said, it does change a little bit on the bottom there. So thank you so much for joining me today, guys. I always love talking a good luxury handbag with you all, especially Louis Vuitton. It is one of my personal favorites. The history, the craftsmanship, the quality of the bags. I really enjoy sharing with you guys. So let me know in the comments below. Is there a video you would like me to share with you? What are you carrying today? And I hope you all have a fabulous rest of your week. Make sure you check out abbymbags.com for what is available currently, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.